The rain hammered against the windows like angry fists. I stood in the doorway soaking wet, watching Elena's face twist with rage. "Get out!" she screamed. "You are jealous and spiteful." "Mrs. Vance, please," I begged, my voice breaking. "He's gonna hurt you. You have to believe me." "My husband loves me." Elena's hand shot out and shoved me backward. I stumbled on the porch steps. "You're fired. Don't ever come back here." The door slammed in my face. Through the glass panel, I saw Marcus step out from the shadows. He placed his hand on Elena's shoulder. Even through the rain and glass, I could see it. That smile. Cold, calculated, wrong. "You always did hate her, didn't you?" His voice was soft, almost gentle. "It's okay. We're better off alone." He handed her a glass of water. Elena took it with shaking hands. I pounded on the door. "Elena, don't drink that, please!" But she turned her back on me, and that's when I knew I had made a terrible mistake. What just happened? Why was I thrown out in the rain? And what's really in that glass of water? Stay until the end to find out. And if you want more stories like this, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't regret it. My name is Sarah Chen, and I had been the Vance family's nanny for 8 months. It was supposed to be a simple job. Take care of little Emma during the day while Elena recovered from her mysterious illness. Cook dinner, keep the house running. Simple. But nothing about the Vance household was simple anymore. I first noticed something was wrong on a Tuesday morning. I was in the kitchen preparing Emma's breakfast when I heard Elena coughing upstairs. Not a normal cough, a deep, painful sound that made my chest tighten. I had heard that cough before, years ago, from my sister Lily. My hand went to the locket around my neck. Inside was Lily's picture. She was only 26 when she died. The doctors called it unexplained organ failure, but I knew better. Her boyfriend had been slowly poisoning her with antifreeze in her morning coffee. By the time anyone believed her, it was too late. I promised myself at her funeral that I would never let it happen again. Elena appeared in the kitchen doorway, pale and trembling. "Sorry," she said, trying to smile. "Just can't shake this flu." "How long have you been sick, Mrs. Vance?" I asked carefully. "About 4 months now." She sat down heavily. "The doctors can't figure it out. They've run every test. Marcus has been so supportive. He makes me special smoothies every morning with vitamins." My stomach dropped. "Smoothies?" "Yes, he's so sweet. Blends them fresh every day." Elena's face softened when she talked about her husband. "I don't know what I'd do without him." That's when Marcus walked in. Tall, handsome, with perfect teeth and a smile that never quite reached his eyes. "Mornin', ladies," he said cheerfully. He moved to the blender and started adding ingredients: banana, spinach, protein powder. Then he reached into his gym bag. He pulled out a generic-looking dropper bottle labeled liquid electrolytes. "Just the new supplements," he said, catching my eye. "Top of the line, imported." He squeezed exactly 3 drops into the blender. His hand was steady, but his eyes were focused, too focused. He didn't put the bottle back in the cabinet. He slipped it immediately into his pocket, like he didn't want anyone else reading the label. The blender refused to start. Marcus pressed the button once, twice, nothing. His face changed, just for a second. The smile dropped. His jaw clenched. He slammed his fist on the counter, so hard the coffee mugs rattled. Emma, playing in the corner, flinched. I froze. Then Marcus saw me staring. His face transformed instantly back to that pleasant smile. "Just old appliances, right, Sarah?" he laughed. "I keep telling Elena we need to upgrade." But I had seen it. The mask had slipped, and underneath was something cold and angry. Elena didn't seem to notice. She was too focused on her phone. Marcus fixed the blender, made the smoothie, and handed it to Elena with a kiss on her forehead. "Drink up, honey. You need your strength." She drank it, every drop. Within an hour, she was dizzy again, retreating to her room, weak and shaking. I cleaned up the kitchen, my mind racing. That dropper bottle, those symptoms, the way Marcus watched Elena with something that wasn't quite concern. It was more like anticipation.
I couldn't stay quiet anymore. One afternoon, when Marcus was at work and Emma was napping, I went to Elena's bedroom. She was lying down, staring at the ceiling. "Mrs. Vance," I started carefully, "can I ask you something?" "Of course, Sarah." "Have you noticed that you only get dizzy after the smoothies? Maybe we should try something else, like tea or juice." Elena's expression shifted. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "What are you saying?" "I just think, are you implying my husband is making me sick?" Her voice turned cold. "That's a serious accusation, Sarah." "I'm not accusing anyone. I just want you to be safe." Elena sat up, anger flashing across her pale face. "Marcus has been by my side every single day. He pays for all my doctor's appointments. He holds my hair when I throw up. He loves me. If you undermine him again, we're going to have a problem. Do you understand?" I stepped back. "Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry." But I wasn't sorry. I was terrified, because Elena was defending the man who was killing her. I needed proof, real, solid proof that even Elena couldn't deny. 2 days later, I found it. I was cleaning Marcus's home office when I knocked over a stack of papers. As I picked them up, I saw it, a life insurance policy for Elena, $2 million, updated just 3 months ago, right around the time she got sick. The beneficiary? Marcus Vance. My heart pounded. I pulled out my phone and took a picture. Then I kept searching. In the back of his desk drawer, hidden under old tax documents, I found a small pharmacy bag. Inside was a bottle. Thallium acetate. I Googled it right there. Thallium, a toxic heavy metal. Symptoms include nausea, dizziness, hair loss, organ failure, colorless and tasteless, often called the poisoner's poison. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the bottle. This was it. This was what he was using. The liquid electrolytes were a lie. I heard the front door open. Marcus was home early. I shoved everything back, my heart racing. I slipped out of the office just as Marcus came up the stairs. "Sarah?" He looked at me suspiciously. "What are you doing up here?" "I was just checking if Elena needed anything." His eyes searched my face. "You look nervous." "I'm fine." I forced a smile and hurried past him. That night at dinner, I couldn't eat. Marcus sat at the head of the table, cutting his steak with precise movements. Elena picked at her salad. Emma colored in her coloring book. Everything looked normal, but I knew the truth now. I knew, and I had to do something. The next evening was Marcus and Elena's anniversary. Marcus spent all day in the kitchen, preparing a special meal, mushroom soup, Elena's favorite. I watched him cook, watched him add cream, herbs, truffle oil, and when he thought no one was looking, I watched him add something else from a small vial he kept in his jacket pocket. The soup smelled rich and earthy, and underneath, just barely, there was a bitter chemical scent. Marcus carried the bowl to the dining room himself. 10 years together, my love, he said, placing it in front of Elena with a flourish. I made this just for you. Elena smiled, the first real smile I'd seen in weeks. It smells amazing. She picked up her spoon. I didn't think. I just moved. I rushed forward, pretending to trip over the chair leg. My arm shot out and knocked the bowl. It flew off the table and shattered on the floor. Soup splattered everywhere. "Oh, my God," I gasped. "I'm so sorry. I'm so clumsy." Marcus stood up slowly. His face was red. A vein pulsed in his temple. "You clumsy idiot. That took me 4 hours to make. I'm sorry, I didn't mean 4 hours." He threw his napkin down. "Do you have any idea how expensive those ingredients were?" Elena stood up too, staring at the mess, then at me, then at Marcus. "Sarah," she said quietly, "pack your bags." "What? Mrs. Vance, please." "Tonight." Her voice was firm. "I want you out tonight." "But Emma—" "We'll manage without you." Elena's eyes were hard. "Marcus is right. You've been acting strange for days. This is the last straw." I looked at Marcus. He was smiling now, a small, satisfied smile. "You heard my wife? Get out." 30 minutes later, I stood on the front porch with my suitcase. The rain had started. Marcus locked the door behind me with a click that sounded like a gunshot. Through the window, I saw him check his watch. Then he turned to Elena and said something. She nodded. He disappeared into the kitchen. He was going to make another bowl, and this time there would be no one to stop her from eating it.
I sat in my car, rain hammering the roof. I couldn't see enough, just vague shadows moving in the living room window. My phone was dead. I'd forgotten to charge it, and my car charger was broken. I should drive to the police station, tell them everything, show them the photo of the insurance policy, tell them about the thallium. But would they believe me? A fired nanny with a dead phone and a wild story about poison? My gut screamed at me, "Get closer." I opened the car door and sprinted through the storm, ducking through the side gate into the backyard. I crouched behind a patio chair, shivering, peering through the large sliding glass door. I was just feet away now. I saw Marcus hand her the bowl, saw her take the spoon. She ate slowly. 1 spoonful, 2, 3. Then she stopped. Her hand went to her throat. The spoon clattered to the floor. Even from here, I could see her body convulsing. She tried to stand and collapsed back onto the couch. Elena's mouth was moving. She was saying something to Marcus. Marcus didn't move. He just sat down in the chair across from her, calm, relaxed. He poured himself a glass of wine. He didn't call for help. He just watched. Horror flooded through me. This was it. This was the moment he'd been waiting for. Inside the house, Elena tried to crawl toward the phone on the side table. Her movements were weak, desperate. She reached out, fingers trembling. Marcus stood up, walked over, and unplugged the phone from the wall. He held it up, showing it to her, then placed it on the high shelf, out of reach. Then he sat back down and took another sip of wine. I could see Elena's lips moving. She was begging, crying. Marcus leaned forward. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could see Elena's face change. Confusion, then understanding, then pure terror. She knew. Finally, she knew. But it was too late. Elena tried to drag herself toward the front door. Marcus simply stepped over her body and locked it. Then he closed all the curtains. My body moved before my brain caught up. I ran to the patio door. Through the glass, I could see Elena collapsed on the living room floor. Marcus was standing over her, checking his watch again. I looked around frantically. There, a heavy garden gnome by the flower bed. I grabbed it and hurled it at the glass door. It bounced off. The glass didn't break. No, no, no! I grabbed it again, raised it higher, and smashed it with all my strength. The glass cracked. Spiderweb patterns spread across the surface. One more time. Crash! The door shattered. Alarms started blaring. I climbed through, glass cutting my arms. I didn't care. Marcus spun around. His face went from surprise to rage in an instant. "You!" he snarled. I ran toward Elena. She was barely conscious, foam at the corners of her mouth. Marcus grabbed my shoulder and threw me backward. I hit the coffee table hard. Pain exploded through my back. "I should have dealt with you weeks ago," Marcus said, advancing on me. He grabbed a knife from the dinner table. The blade gleamed in the lamplight. I scrambled backward. "The police are coming." "No, they're not. You're a fired nanny breaking into my house. I'm defending my property."
He smiled, that terrible smile. "This is self-defense." He lunged. I rolled to the side. The knife stabbed into the carpet where my chest had been a second before. "Help!" I screamed. "Someone help!" Marcus pulled the knife free and came at me again. I grabbed a couch cushion and held it up. The knife tore through the fabric. I was going to die. We were both going to die. Then I heard it. Sirens, distant but getting closer. Marcus heard them too. His eyes widened. "What did you do?" he demanded. I smiled through the blood on my lip. "I found the landline in the garage 20 minutes ago." It was a lie, but he believed it. Panic flashed across his face. He dropped the knife and ran for the back door. He didn't make it far. A small hand grabbed his ankle. Elena, weak, trembling, but holding on with everything she had left. "You aren't going anywhere," she gasped. Marcus tried to shake her off, but she held firm. He stumbled, fell hard. The front door burst open. Police flooded in, guns drawn. "Freeze! Hands where we can see them!" Marcus was tackled to the ground, face first into the carpet. Handcuffs clicked. Paramedics rushed to Elena. They checked her vitals, started an IV. "We need to pump her stomach, now." She only had 3 spoonfuls, the second bowl. She spilled most of it when she collapsed. The paramedic nodded. That might have saved her life. Elena's eyes found mine. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I held her hand as they loaded her onto the stretcher. "You fought him at the end. That's what matters."
3 days later, I sat in Elena's hospital room. She was propped up in bed, still pale but alive. The doctor said she would make a full recovery. The thallium was being flushed from her system. Her hair would grow back. The organ damage could be repaired. She would live. Emma was with Elena's sister, safe, away from all of this. Marcus was in jail, charged with attempted murder. The police had found everything. The thallium bottle, the insurance policy, records showing he'd researched undetectable poisons on his work computer for months. Turned out Marcus had gambling debts, massive ones. $2 million would have cleared them all, and with Elena dead from natural causes, no one would have suspected him. But I had suspected him, and I couldn't let it go. "Why?" Elena asked, her voice still weak. "Why didn't you just leave when I fired you? You could have walked away." I touched the locket around my neck. "My sister died when I was 19. Her boyfriend poisoned her. She tried to tell people, but no one believed her. Not her friends, not the doctors, not even me." My voice cracked. By the time I started listening, it was too late. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry. I promised myself at her funeral that I would never ignore the signs again, that I would never let someone suffer alone." I looked at her. "You weren't alone, Elena. You just didn't know it." She reached out and squeezed my hand. "Thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself." We sat in silence for a moment. Then Elena spoke again. "I defended him. I defended the monster who was killing me." Her voice was bitter. "How could I be so blind?" "He was good at lying," I said gently. "That's what these people do. They find your weaknesses and exploit them. They make you doubt yourself, doubt everyone around you. It's not your fault." "I threw you out in the rain." "And then you grabbed his ankle when it mattered most." I smiled. "You saved both of us, Elena." She wiped her eyes. "What happens now?" "Now you heal. You get Emma back. You rebuild your life." I stood up. "And I'm going to be here to help, if you'll let me." Elena nodded. "I'd like that." As I left the hospital that evening, I thought about Lily, about all the women like her who didn't have someone to fight for them, who didn't have someone willing to break down doors and risk everything. I couldn't save Lily, but I saved Elena, and maybe that was enough. 6 months later, I received a letter. It was from the district attorney's office. Marcus had been convicted, 25 years to life, no parole. Elena and Emma had moved to a new house, a fresh start. Elena asked me to come with them,
Not as a nanny, but as family. I said yes. Trust is earned, not given. And sometimes the hardest truths come from the people we try to silence. If you're lucky, you'll have someone who refuses to stay silent. Someone who will believe you, even when you don't believe yourself. I was that person for Elena, and I hope if you ever need it, you'll have someone like that too. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, always trust your gut. It might just save your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.